What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back with another MMA superstar. Jamahal Hill joins us now, UFC light heavyweight. What's up, Sweet Dreams?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Good. Let's peel back the curtain and let everybody know. 10 seconds ago, you just walloped a spider. That's the biggest spider you ever seen? I mean, that was pretty big. You gave us
the biggest one, but it's definitely one of the creepiest ones I've seen. Oh shit, where he go?
He's still alive?
Oh, he can't be alive.
Oh man, I thought you said you smashed him.
I did. He gone.
Wow.
Well,
Now he's got a chip on his shoulder.
that's a strong ass spider, bro.
Yeah.
So he showed us the spider, and the spider was at least like his body was like the size of a quarter, right? He was thick.
He was big, bro. He was big. He was hairy. He was a little funky looking ass thing. I ain't never seen. That's the first time I seen one that looked like that. I ain't even gonna lie.
It was so big, what you should have done was after hitting it, you should have ran back across the garage and then dropped the people's elbow on him. Just
Just make sure he's dead.
yeah, you went soft. You just let him go, and that's it.
I thought I smashed him.
You kicked him out of the club and said, "Don't come back," but you never know. He might come back with his homies now.
Man, bro, shit, as long as they're not as big as him.
He's gonna pop in the living room with a cast like a week later.
Sorry, he'll just take it out on the kids. He's their problem now.
Jamal, let's catch up, man. How's your health? Are you back to 100? Are you training? Everything?
My health is good. I'm not back to 100% fully now, but I'm getting there. Slowly but surely.
I overheard my brother talking to you just before you started the interview about your mindset, and I would agree with what I heard. You're one of the guys that really, you've taken the L, the injury, but you've never got hung up on it, and it doesn't seem like it's gotten to you. Now, you may tell us otherwise. Maybe there was some bad days, some bad weeks where you were just like, where it hurt and people didn't see it. But what could you tell us about your mindset dealing with all this?
Nah, it didn't. And honestly, it did. It kind of surprised me. It did surprise me on how I took it. But what it was, like, all right, you seen like the still shot in the picture or even in the video of the fight, whenever after I lost, I was sitting on the ground. I'm sitting there and I'm shaking my head. That shaking my head was realization because I already knew right when it happened what I had done. I knew the error I made. Me losing was nothing short of me paying for me disrespecting the game. I disrespected the game in a way that anybody who truly loves this game and strives in this game, which is mostly the top guys, they don't do. If you want to be one of those guys, you don't do it. You don't do it. You don't do what I did. I felt like all I had to do was show up. I truly, truly felt like all I had to do was show up. Any concerns I had, any concerns or anything I might have been unsure, any type of nerves I felt, I filled it with arrogance. It wasn't. It's a difference between confidence and just flat out arrogance. It was just flat out arrogance, and I was taught a lesson, and I can't be that way. That's not how you approach this game.
It sounds like what you're saying was, you got a little bit of a reality check, but at least you're processing it and learning it versus denying it.
Right. There's nothing. There was nothing to deny. I lost. I didn't get the result that I wanted, and that in itself means something has to be addressed. And I'm real. I'm real with myself. Whether it's some shit that I don't want to hear or something I truly don't want to believe, even if it's hard for me to accept, eventually I will come around to the realization of being real with myself, and this is what it is, and this is what it takes.
Do you feel like you're already, not physically, but at least mentally, emotionally, already stronger than that night, in terms of, you're maturing and you're saying the right things right here? I think This is the type of stuff the promotion wants to hear, your fans want to hear, that your loved ones want to hear. That does, every athlete doesn't do that. You've come to grips with it very professionally.
For me, it's not about what people want to hear. It's about what's real. I'm just speaking what's real and what's true, and maybe somewhere down the line, maybe like a nephew of mine, a training partner, one of my people's kids may be in the same position, and they might get in that same spot, and they need to know. From around here, from my gym, I'm the first one to do what I'm doing on the level that I'm doing it on and taking this where I'm taking it. So in a sense, there isn't really a blueprint for me. You know, I'm kind of creating a blueprint as I go along, and I want to leave the best, most effective blueprint behind for my guys after me.
Jamal, you know, afterwards, a lot of people were concerned for you. You're one of the guys that a lot of people feel are the future of the sport. And then, but like George said, you processed everything so quickly. You know, things that sometimes fighters take months to get over. Mentally, it seemed like you were already there. And even in seeing like you hanging out with Paul Craig, and just talking, like, can you share what you guys talked about? Like, what kind of things did you guys talk about?
Yeah, well, it started like, honestly, and it was kind of weird because like we were at the weigh-ins. All right, so we're at the weigh-ins, and like I'm good at reading people. I'm good at reading energy, and I'm reading people, and just like, yeah, Paul had the intensity. He had the, you know what I mean. He stared at me, you know what I mean. But I feel like he felt like he needed to do those things, you know, to keep playing the game and stay inside of my head or whatever. But I realized, like just hearing his interviews and hearing him talk, I'm like, this dude is like not who I thought he was. You know what I'm saying? I'm expecting this arrogant asshole who a lot of some of the racist dudes was able to get behind and some of that, which he wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't that at all. You know, and I was afterwards. He came up to me while I was on the ground, and right after he took his victory lap, his walk around. He could have stared at me, rubbed it in, all of that. Even when he popped my arm out and the ref didn't stop it, he let my arm go. He could have twisted, twerked, and he could have damaged my arm up. I noticed things, and then he came around. He's like, "Hey, I don't know what was said, but I'm a good person, you know. It's just the business fight." I was like, "Hey, you don't have to explain nothing to me. I'd already realized it. I'd already known. I'd already peeped, and it was up to me to be real and be the man and be a man that I say that I am, and accept that and go move forward the right way." You know, that's why I got up. That's why I got up against the doctor's wishes and everybody's wishes, held my arm in place and stood there while he was announced the winner. You know what I mean? That was out of respect. That was a respect that I owed him. I felt.
You know, we just our website, we spoke to Puna Soriano, who was undefeated, and he had mentioned when he lost, he felt like a little pressure of being an undefeated fighter was lifted off his shoulders a little bit. Do you feel the same way?
In a way, yeah, it is a pressure in itself. Yeah, you know, don't get me wrong, it's something that I wanted. It was a goal, it was a dream of mine, you know, to stay undefeated for the entirety of my career. But it was a pressure, you know, because here's the thing, like sometimes when you're thinking about something like, oh, maybe this will work, this could, but hey, if it fails, but if I mess up, that exposes me to lose, you know, and it's like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, like the kind of pressure it put on you, but it was definitely a pressure.
You got Jimmy Crute ahead of you now, and some people will, I mean, he's on par with your last opponent, and some people will even say that might even be a tougher matchup for you. How did that matchup come about? Is that a name you've always wanted? Was that somebody that was presented to you?
I figured that Jimmy Crute was going to come along regardless. Jimmy Crute's been somebody that people have been mentioning and hammering for me to fight since I stepped on the scene. But yeah, I don't know. It's just what they offer. It's what they came out with, and you know, I'm gonna take it. You know, I want to keep fighting. I want to keep fighting the top guys. I want to stay active and stay busy. You know, and for me, I look at this like, yeah, Jimmy Crute beat Paul Craig, so in a way, it's kind of like a way for me to get something back. You know,
Man, if I was a coach of a football team and I knew nothing about your physical skills, I'd already want you to be my quarterback, or basketball, I'd want you to be my point guard. You seem to have it really up here, man. I applaud you for that. Because we've spoken to a lot of fighters. You know, we're going on our 15th year, so we've kind of, as I hear Goes say his questions, and I know I say mine, there's similar scripts when fighters lose the first time, and some just months later still aren't dealing with the loss. You've already dealt it. It's behind you, and your focus is so strong. That's awesome. And I want to ask you, do you think, aside from yourself, is there somebody who's inspired you to, I guess, have that type of maturity? Your family, your coaches, or anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I'm inspired by the support. My people still love me regardless. They still show up for me regardless, you know. And with them doing that, how dare I beat myself down like that? They're not hanging on it. They're not pulling back on me at all. So why pull back on myself? Why pull back on any of the time and anything that they've invested in me? You know, it's part of it. This is part of the journey. One thing I've learned about things, no matter how things went, I've won fights and I've looked back on the fight and I didn't enjoy the fight because I was so focused on just winning and this. And when I got to it, it was just like, oh, well, I got it done. Enjoy the moment, whether it's bad, whether it's good, up, down, no matter what, the struggle. Like most people, if I grew up struggling and stuff, I'm happy. I'm happy with the way I grew up. Like I'm glad I get to write my story and create my own path and my own way. Things like that excite me. You know what I mean? It's things that when you look back on, you can actually be proud of. You know, so yeah, man, you just got to learn how to deal with adversity. Adversity is part of life, and I've had a very adverse life.
Nice, Jamal. Just to clear things up, what was finally officially your injury? You know, on fight night we hear a break, a tear, a sprain, this, or that. And then it's not until you guys go even not just behind the curtain, but maybe to a hospital, and then you really, really get the assessment. So officially, what officially happened to the arm?
So my arm completely dislocated out of the socket. So like I actually have the X-rays, I just haven't put them out. But so if you know about the arm and how your arm and forearm is just a socket where your arm, where your elbow is, and then there's a bone that connects your forearm that connects the rest of your arm, and it goes in there. So what happened was that bone that was in there completely came out. Oof. It completely dislocated. Normally what happens, it'll break because it's like in a nice little pocket. It'll somewhat break on the way out. Mine was just a clean dislocation. No break, no fracture at all. It was just a very, very freak thing that happened. And yeah, that was it.
Is that
we had to put it back in?
Better than had it been a break, or it is okay.
Breaks usually take surgery. I didn't need any surgery or anything. They put my arm, they put it back in, put a cast on it, and then I came back home and I've been letting it heal. It's been healing on its own.
Well, we're glad to hear that. I mean, we want no injury, but upon hearing what it is and that it was the better scenario, that's great because if you'll recall, like I believe Paige Van Zandt needed injuries. She had a forearm injury. She needed like 3 or 4 subsequent surgeries, you know? So it's kind of been in my head that when it has to do with the arm, what part, you know, Jacare may have already been on his way to retiring, but I think he had a break from elbow to shoulder.
Shoulder break.
So yours was a dislocation, but of the better case scenario, I guess, and you're already feeling pretty good, you're saying.
Yeah. No, I got full range of motion back in my arm. My arm's full range of motion. I can move it whatever way I need. I've been sparring. I've been landing punches with it. You know, I've been doing a little bit of grappling with it. You know, just little things. You know, it's still the strength in it is not there. It's not where it should be. It's still lacking in the strength department. But the range of motion and everything else, the functions are there.
So that's why the spider got away. If you were at 100%, the spider's done. But maybe, you know, you're not at 100, and maybe that's why he caught a break. He caught you on a light day.
And that was a special spider. Maybe his spidey senses had him duck, and he weaved right in between the crack of one of the sandals, you know, right in the crack, got in there, and he played like he was dead. You know, he hit the little flop and the roll down, and then dipped off, seen his opportunity and dipped off.
The spider's tougher than me. I wouldn't even want to get hit by 100% Jamahal Hill, so I'll respect to the spider. All right, I think Goz has one last one. Go ahead, Goz.
I actually wanted to ask him about the spider. So you tried to take him out, but he walked away. He got away. He's ghost now. If you come across him again, is there a little bit of respect that goes his way where maybe now he earned to be scooped and thrown out into the street? Or do you deal with him? Is somebody?
No, we finished the job. We finished the job. All right. But the man declared himself an enemy of the state.
Is 10-9 spider? Is it 10-9 spider round 1?
Round how? I landed on shots.
Nice. All right, man. We always have a great.
You can't run.
We always have a great time.
Like you deserve a yellow card. A yellow card worthy.
We always have a great time talking to you. I'm going to remind folks to go back to our YouTube channel so they can hear that epic street fight story. 3 a.m. You and the cousin and some homies against 20. Oh man, I thought about that one for days. But listen, we really want you.
I was about to say which one.
We really want you back at 100, and we're ready for your return in December. I can't wait. You're one of our favorite fighters to cover in this great sport. So our best to you, Jamal. Thanks for the time today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all having me on. Yeah, man, it's great talking to y'all. It's good to talk to y'all. I'll be back soon. Don't worry about nothing. Sweet dreams. Be back in full in action.
That's what's up. All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon.